Welcome to the wonderful world of the creative mind. My name is Dan from the Mighty Pie, and today I'm going to be talking you through my favourite song from our work on U.Me, the complete musical, which is still available on BBC iPlayer, so if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it. The music is absolutely fabulous, and the animation is rather good too, even if I do say so myself. How do you visualise a nervous breakdown? Rose, the protagonist of U.Me, has been struggling with life after lockdown. At this point in the musical, just about halfway through the second act, she is now sitting in the Sheldonian Theatre in Oxford watching her sister graduate. And this was the moment when everything just built up and built up and built up. And I would say that her mind cracked. So as I play the song, I'll explain how I put myself in that moment. I'll also mention some production points as we go along. Ladies and gentlemen, Graduation Nightmare. Right from storyboarding, I wanted the whole song to be 2 long tracking shots only. The idea was to convey Rose's focus on the Vice-Chancellor and the world around, and to set that up for the audience. And then the second shot is the complete opposite and retreats into Rose's mind. The imagery of being surrounded by crowds and feeling like the odd one out or the misfit has made a regular appearance in my artwork over the years, especially crowds in formal attire, when everyone looks the same except you. And in this instance, the geometric shapes of the graduation gowns and the geometric shadows coming from the windows and the structures of the hall, all of this was used to emphasise that feeling of utter loneliness, as if everyone else is so perfectly organised except you. At one point, I envisioned the Vice-Chancellor to be created using rotoscope similar to the Ralph Bakshi Lord of the Rings animation. He was just going to be a faceless shadow, even going so far as to buy a graduation gown. But to be honest, the results felt too out of place. And the point was that he was meant to be part of the outside world, not some strange individual fitting into it. The golden cherub was there to show that light and love were moving out of Rose's mind as they moved out of shot. Sitting next to Rose is her mum and her sister's boyfriend. You can see that they've both got their kind of mocking evil grins, and this is to remind you that you're moving into Rose's mind and this is not reality. Throughout the whole shot, I wanted the acting to be done through the eyes. And now you have to remember, all of this is taking place in her mind. So she's there at the ceremony, but what you're hearing is only happening to her and in her mind. And she keeps telling herself how terrible she is the whole way through. Her self-doubt has gotten the better of her, and she just can't find a way out. A quick production note. The ghosts of the Chancellor and her mum and the rest of them were drawn in Critter and animated using Adobe Character Animator, which I'd never used before. It captures your motion using a webcam. I suppose it's a fairly simple program for fun for kids, but for this particular job it worked perfectly fine. This is the only song in the whole musical where her eyes are actually reflecting the light from the actual scene. And this is because the whole animation is based around her eyes. Everything that's going on is within her mind, and you can see this through the acting of the eyes. It was so important to capture all of this torment through her eyes. To recreate this, I had to relive those moments of feeling desperately trapped, whether trapped on a train every day going to work when you feel like you've lost yourself, or your child is in hospital and you just want to scream but you can't. That feeling of being totally overwhelmed but knowing you can't move. So you go around and round and round in your mind until you drive yourself mad.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor. It is truly an honour to be graduating and moving in with my boyfriend Zach instead of...
As a creative person, you have to be able to find and relive these moments and put them into your artwork to make it feel authentic. The messy thoughts, the memories, the panic, being able to relive this will take you from being a good artist to a great artist. And believe me, it's hard, mentally and physically. It's no secret that creative people in the past have let it consume them, so make sure you do know how to turn it off and wind down.
Seeing Jane graduate today is bittersweet, as her intelligence and endurance are a reminder
the music is fantastic. The notes of the organ, the constant drum beat and the bass line. This is a nightmare happening while she's awake.
Takes a village, and no village is complete without the pandemic internet boyfriend of Jake's sister Rose, Theo Mickey.
Thank you! It's an honor to be here. Congratulations.
You'll notice the lights move from the top to the bottom of the scene and her pupils shrink.
Rose who chooses only wrong paths. Rose whose bad decisions hurt not only herself but subtly damage everyone around her, like radiation poisoning. Rose who lured me halfway across the world for her own amusement. Rose who didn't even answer my messages for weeks after I arrived in a...
The calling of her name as if she's shouting to herself, screaming at herself, even though desperately trying to keep herself together, but then finally just reaches breaking point. One of my favourite artists is Edvard Munch, and that final scene is very much a nod to the scream. I've used his imagery quite a lot in my earlier work and absolutely love it. It's such a powerful image, and it's been a while since I've had the chance to use it, but this was a perfect opportunity. Didn't someone throw soup on it or something recently? Well, don't, because I like that painting. And the final image of the skulls matches the transition from the first scene into the second, and it means death. But not death in the sense that she's died, but death in the sense that something has died inside of her. An end, so to speak. Death is something that you can't spend your time thinking about, yet it's so certain. It's a total end to you, and all you've been. You've tried so bloody hard, and then you die. Life is like a cruel joke, but doesn't have a punchline.